Russia's industry is in tatters.
In short, Russia has lost.
Putin has already lost.
This terrorist Putin.
Никто по существу не хотел разговаривать. Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.
E estamos ao vivo. Estamos ao vivo por alguns segundos porque eu tive uma emergência nasal aqui agora e eu preciso entregar uma coisa muito rápida e eu já volto. Só um segundinho, não saiam, não saiam daí que a gente já volta, viu? Pois é. Só um segundo. Ok, ok, voltei, vamos lá. Bom, hoje a gente vai ter uma conversa com a Maria Lelyanova, que é uma pessoa que tem ajudado muito na questão humanitária do Donbass e também teve várias aventuras junto com o João Quaresma, que por acaso também está aqui de última hora, conseguiu vir aqui trocar ideia com a gente. Então, sem mais delongas, eu vou trazer eles para a tela e aí eu deixo eles se apresentarem, que é sempre melhor, que eu sempre faço isso de uma forma terrível. Beleza? E cá estamos. Hello, Masha. Hello, João. How are you doing, guys?
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good
Again.
Yeah.
Good evening, Masha. So I was just introducing you guys. I'm not good in introductions. I had to bring some, nasal aspiration to my daughter. So I had to take a break for a second. I would like today to, well, first of all, introduce you guys because you're probably going to do it better than me. João, people already know here in the channel. Maria, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and how do you end up in this adventure, let's call it adventure, of, helping, humanitarian aids and everything else to the front lines on Donbass?
Well, everything in life is adventure, as we have just defined. It's only a matter of attitude. It's just a matter of luck. It was a coincidence. I went there first as a translator in August of 2022, together with a journalist and a former American citizen, now already a Russian citizen, John Mark Dugan, a great friend of mine. He brought me there and I saw what's going on. And already the second time when I went there, I knew I couldn't come empty-handed. I had to do something. I had to somehow try to help people. And then it just continued. More and more and more, and I just cannot stop anymore. It's something that you cannot stop doing once you start it. To a degree, it's like heroin. You get addicted immediately. Everything in life becomes not so important in comparison to this. Everything else in life seems like some sort of a waste of time if you know that you can spend time doing something else, something more useful, something that makes an immediate impact, something that actually hopefully helps people to stay alive or intact or a little bit less wounded or just in a little bit more comfort, which also matters. So there.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to this later because since we have João and João has a limited time, I would like to talk about your trips together. You've been just recently to a big trip. I had a show with João just last week. Well, two. One I was invited as well, and the other one I brought to João to talk in the channel. and we talked about the prisoners of war and also all the adventures. I would like to know from both of you, and then this channel is a bit chaotic, so I'll just throw to you guys and you decide who speaks when and first or not. And I would like to know about these adventures. You guys have been to the front lines several times. You have made some great interviews. You have worked as translation for those interviews, and I know that you're still producing. I believe me, I understand the work that it is behind producing all these videos, and that's why I don't do that many. So please tell us a little bit about your adventures on this and the fantastic work that you guys have done together on the front lines, and then back home working on this.
I should say Masha should go first because she's special guest here today, and I have already been here, and I can corroborate or not what she says.
Well, we had already 2 trips together, one in October and one in May this year. And like you rightly said, it takes a lot of work to then work on all the materials and produce them. So we still haven't published everything from October. Like I said, we have enough material for a year, and then we add the stuff from this trip event. So it's not gonna end soon. It's probably forever. Yeah, we have
I totally
a lot.
believe.
Yeah, we really have a lot of materials, and well, we do what we can because we also have life and need to sleep sometimes. So we're producing producing everything with the speed that we actually can. As for adventures, well, it's very cool. Joao is a great person. He is a great companion, and he does not complain, which is fantastic. So if there is no water, okay, there is no water. If there is no electricity, well, there is no electricity. If well, the car is broken, well, with a little bit of swearing, but okay, the car is broken. So it's like that.
Well,
Which is awesome.
he's Portuguese. He's used to not having water and electricity.
That's a low blow.
Okay.
It's luckily, fortunately, the audience is mostly from Brazil, right?
I think in Brazil
Exactly.
it's also not as hunky-dory as we might suspect. So anyway, with him, it's not like you are with a child from a kindergarten. You are actually with an adequate grown-up, and you don't have to herd cats like you usually do with the people from the first world. So it's great.
Well,
Adequacy is always
I-
appreciated.
Just a second, João. I just
No,
had a message from a friend of mine that I mentioned earlier to you, that he's right now in Russia for a workshop, and he was telling me he's used to go to Russia already. He was telling me because they landed in Moscow, and then they have a bus from Moscow to the workshop, which is, well, I forgot the name of the city, happening right now, and it's 8 hours.
Okay.
And in these 8 hours, there is a 15-minute stop for toilet and food, if you manage to do that in 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And he was saying exactly like that. Russians, they already show you the pain when you arrive. You don't have water. Well, you don't have water. You want to go to the toilet? Oh, cry baby, wait, there is still 3 hours until the next stop. And
Right.
he was kidding, of course. He not 100% kidding. And then you tell like this, and yeah, I kind of believe.
Yeah.
Please, you won't tell us.
well, it's Masha has said. Well, aside from the compliments, which is her own opinion, I must say, because I still have feelings, right? So I do get angry and frustrated along the trip a lot of times. But of course, I do my best to curb that feelings, because it doesn't help. You need to do actions and thoughts, and have thoughts that help when you're in difficulties instead of just creating, just adding your own problems to it. I think this is an attitude. If you go to Russia, and especially if you go to do the work at the pace as I do with Masha, which is it's crazy. In October we had such a such a busy schedule every day that it was like I didn't even I had a hard time figuring how we managed, because when you think after 10 hours of work, many interviews, many road trips to many different places, many moments, and then you think you're going to the hotel to sleep, you still have one more interview to do, which you have not prepared. But you have to manage it anyway. You have to do it. This is the Masha knows this. We have been through this. It's we tried to make it a little bit better this time, but we ended up doing just the same. We had days. I remember in Kursk where we started like at 7 in the morning, and at 2 in the morning I was finishing the last interview. So you can see the magnitude of work, and it's heavy because you feel tired, and of course your mood will not always be all cheerful and happy, although you are doing what you like, you are in the land that you love, with people that you want to be with, but still your physical limits, you can feel them. And then it's like Masha describes, a lot of times we have to face, especially in Donbass, right? You go to a nice hotel, but then the hotel doesn't have any water, or the hotel is
gets
not
bombed.
So, but that's like the least of it. I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy this kind of hardships that you find there, and the way that people live with them so adequately. They adapt very well. I do admire this in Russians because it resembles a lot of Portuguese culture, at least the culture that I grew in. Of course, it's changing now, but this is and we strive to do our best. I mean, I'm talking like I'm like maybe, and Masha also talked about me like I'm a big thing, but it's like without her, none of this would be possible. That's the crude, the raw truth about all of this. And then I am directed and I do my best. That's all.
Directed.
Yeah, that's.
You just kick him along the way. And if he complains, you kick him harder.
you do the Link's eyes. And he works. Yeah, no, just before I had today, now I'm going to explain people. I contacted Masha today because João has given her contact a couple of days ago, and I've been so busy that tomorrow. And then I contact her today, thinking about perhaps having a conversation Saturday or next week. And then she immediately said to me, why procrastinating when you can do things immediately? Just avoid procrastinating. And I say, well, I have time. Let's do it now. That shows that I'm completely unprepared for any type of interview. This is a very, casual chat. But that was a teaching, I'm kind of a fast learner, so I immediately got it. Okay, let's do it now. What are you doing? Do you have time? Let's do it in 3 hours. And she said, no, okay. So, all right. Just like João, do you have time? Not too much, but yeah, I can jump in. No problem. I'm usually that kind of guy, Are you busy? Do you want to jump into like the ones that we had in the multipolar the other day with Luis? Luis wrote me, yeah, we have an interview with a conversation with João. Do you want to be part of it? No, why not? Not doing anything special now, so let's do it. So yeah, thank you for this first lesson of Russian today, Masha.
You're welcome. We have a saying, нет никакого потом. There is no such thing as later. That's one thing that I learned when I started to go to Donbass. You cannot afford to procrastinate, because when you postpone and you sometime later come back to that, the person you want to talk to might not be there anymore. So one time is enough for a lesson. It's just that. There is no such thing as later. You want to do it now. You cannot do it now, then let's agree sometime later when now is now. Just like that.
When now is now. Again, well, yeah, that's a very philosophical way of thinking. But the point is, do not procrastinate. Just do it. And I don't even like this slogan, but yeah, just do it. Why? What are you doing better than that?
Right.
Let's do it. So, guys, please tell me about more about this this last trip that you guys had together in May. This was the one that you talked with the prisoners of war, right?
Yes.
And yeah, we had this conversation already, me and João. But please give us the perspective that you had talking with those people. Well, both of you, João. Also, please. Now we're doing it in English. Perhaps other people will see it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, to be quick about it, not to bore our audience, is this was one of the most interesting opportunities and rich opportunities that I had. You don't notice, but the communication between me and that prisoner is possible because Masha is there on the background.
I noticed. I heard her voices every now and then.
Yes, and she's translating real time, which is a very difficult task. But my overall impression is that these people were genuine. We all know that prisoners of war are conditioned by their condition of prisoners, right? By their reality they live in. We all understand this, and anyone can dispute this. This is legitimate dispute. They must, sometimes they are obliged to say some things, but these guys, the way they told their stories, the way they explained their details, and especially they didn't know the questioning, the questions I was about to do to them. No one controlled my questions, no one controlled my content. I just sat there and they asked me, who do you want to interview first? And that was it. And then we also had the opportunity to go around and see the facilities where they live in, where they sleep, where they eat. We had the chance to eat there. Me and Masha, we had a meal there. And we saw that there are no fences around this place. And people occupy their time with jobs, technical jobs. Some paint, some work on car mechanics, and some dedicates themselves to also information projects, like I mentioned to you, which is the example of this Ukraine Goes Missing. Remember that I talked to you about this project. So the environment, it's actually it's an environment of harmony, I should say. And you don't see like no signs of violence towards anyone. And you look at the people, the way they look at you, the way they smile, the way they are. I think they are. I didn't say this before, but I'll say it now. I think they are relieved that they are away from the war. This was maybe the sentence that sums it up better. I don't know what you think, Masha.
Well, I just recently heard a great poem by the way, by Inna, who you interviewed in October, which is called "Be Happy, You Are Captured." Like, be happy, you became a prisoner of war. Because now your life is guaranteed, your health is guaranteed, you will not be in any way mistreated, you're gonna be safe, and you got the best of what could have been there. These people can communicate with their families at any time. These people got safety. It was the second time when I saw some of them, because I brought there another journalist sometime before. It was in December 2024. So basically half a year ago. They gained weight there. I recognize them and I see the difference. So there is no need to, in the West, especially in Ukraine, they tell a lot of stories about us that are not true. And one of them is that we torture prisoners of war. Well, it's like a sanatorium, I would say. There is nothing even close to anything that is told about us. It's fine. It's normal conditions of life. They are fed, they are safe, they do something that is actually meaningful, because this project Ukraine Goes Missing is huge, and it's given a lot of information to the families of these people, to the families of those who look for their men everywhere. And at least it's a chance for them to find something out, to have at least some information, because living in a vacuum of information is the worst. It's better to know that the person is dead than just not to know anything at all. And this project does everything to help to bring the message. And we I mean, as the Russian side, right? We also help because we recognize that we know that this is the brother nation, and they are victims of this war just like we are, unfortunately. So we actually want to help, and that's what's happening. And that is why the person who is actually a prisoner of war could create such a project, and this project became successful and it grew because it's actually very big, and it happened, and he managed. And now there are so many people that take part in it, even though they are in captivity, right? It's still possible. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, one of the things that because what happens, I also published some of the videos that João sent me. One of the things that I have trouble, for example, is I don't speak Russian nor Ukrainian, so of course it's subtitled to English and to Portuguese. But the thing is that what I always say about, for example, watching dubbed movies, I hate it because you lose some part of the art of the artist itself.
Yes.
And I do not understand the tune of a Russian language or Ukrainian language, or those words hidden, that can express something. So yeah, I asked João about this. How does he feel about the prisoners? And different feelings for different prisoners. But I would like to hear from you. That you were on your mother language there, listening to the people. What did you catch on their way of speaking? Was it sincere, not sincere, aggressive? Of course, yeah, there is people and people. So I would like to have a not a general perspective, but case by case, let's say like that. How do you identify the behavior of several people in different perspectives?
Well, this time we have interviewed 4 people. That is João, Nicholas II, João interviewed 4 people. The first one was the officer. That's the material that you saw, I'm sure, because it was the first that I added subtitles to. This person is obviously a product of Soviet Union. He is in his 50s, maybe closer to like 60 even. Somewhere between 50 and 60. And he is an absolutely Soviet person, just like all of us, kind of. So you totally see someone who is the same as you, who by some interesting twist of fate, for some reason, was fighting against you. And what he was saying seemed very genuine. One of the things that he said is that if the United States managed to get into the heads of the youth in Ukraine all these basically Nazi ideas, that whole story of the, for example, Great Patriotic War, which is something that defines us as a nation. It managed to twist it completely in their minds. He said, if they manage to do it, then my job is to try to undo it for at least one person, for at least my grandson. He has a grandson now that he hasn't seen yet. So at least for my grandson, at least even for one person, if it works, it means I did something right in life. So when they get to us, they understand the degree of lies that they were exposed to at home. They start to somehow understand that if this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, then maybe everything else were also wrong. Everything else was also lies. And they start to add 2 and 2 together. And they seem very cooperative, and they feel like they need to share it. The second guy, for example, you might have seen his interview as well. It was pretty short interview, great sense of humor. He called his military career a very extensive one because he spent 1 hour in Kursk region. And then until he was captured. So as extensive as it gets. Yeah, great military career. And he also says, like, 95% of my relatives are in Kursk region. Why on earth would I want to fight in the Kursk region against them? Why? They are my family. Because, damn, that's what is done to us. On the other hand, there was also, for example, a person from, I'm not remembering his name exactly, but he was introduced to us as the one who supports Bandera, who is totally on the other side. And, you know, I said, maybe you don't want to talk to him. I thought maybe he would say something that would reveal his identity, would reveal his personality, would reveal his beliefs. But he totally went into that mode, like, I don't know anything. I don't remember. I don't know. So
he did admit some things, but in a very shy way.
Yeah. So to me, you know, if you truly went there for a reason, for your beliefs, for something, like you believe that Russia is the enemy, you believe that Bandera is a great guy, you support all this Nazi bullshit, at least own it. Then say so. Then prove how much you hate us. Come on. But nothing of the kind. He totally kind of crawled into his shell and was there.
You remember, Masha,
that was almost disappointing.
You remember, Masha, when I asked him about Bandera and if he think that Bandera was a great person or a good person or not, and his reply was, it must be because people build statues and give awards to this person, right? People celebrate this person now, so he must be a good person. That was his answer. So
yeah, you know, Masha, you said one thing that's very important. If you believe that truly, own it. Yeah. Just own it. That's what you believe. I mean, not nice, but own it. It's your beliefs. If you're willing to die for it, well, why procrastinate?
That's a good one.
I told you I'm a fast learner.
True. Well, guys, we have a universal freedom of thoughts, freedom of will. That is God-given right. You can have whatever thoughts you want to have, and no one can dictate you what to think and what to believe. That's your internal thing. And if you think that Bandera is a great guy, if you think that Russia is the horrible place of works where people, I don't know, fall onto their knees when they see a microwave oven because they've never seen it before, or they steal asphalt from Ukraine and bring it back, if you believe it, well, own it.
Yeah, and still this guy was there living with the others, same conditions, no different treatment.
Yeah, he didn't look beaten or anything. He
No,
looked just
no.
like everyone
He
else.
looked just like everyone else. And when I asked him, "Are you truthfully answering to my questions?" And you remember this, Masha? He told me, "In principle."
In
Was his
principle,
answer.
yeah,
In
kind of.
principle, kind of.
Yeah.
It's almost
So-
like whatever, dude.
Yes, I mean, if
Yeah.
if he was, he could have been forced to say, because like he was the Maidan supporter, right? He admitted
Yeah.
that, and he could have been forced to say many things, but he kind of just told us whatever he felt like telling. So that's
Which
another
wasn't
proof, I
much.
think, that the you don't have any like people coerced there to say anything they don't want to say. And please, if you allow me, I have like 4 or 5 more minutes, so I don't
Okay.
want to direct or own this interview. Please, Marcelo, forgive me. But if you have
I
any more,
actually
if you
have
have
not
another question for me, now this is the time.
the last moment.
Okay,
All
yeah.
right. I actually have not asked Masha how long would you have for conversation.
Oh, it's okay. All yours.
All right. Perfect.
No problem. Ask Joao when we
Oh,
got him.
you shouldn't have said that. Ask João how long my live streams are.
Yeah. Well, Masha, you're on your own now.
It was
You
good
had the
knowing
last
you,
chance.
right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was good knowing you. Yes.
Well, we had already a lot of conversations this week, João. So just please give us some, some last thoughts before you go
Mhm.
about the experiences that you two guys had together,
Of course.
and remember everybody to like, share, subscribe, all those things. I have to say that, and tell us also where people can find you and your work.
Yeah, of course. Starting with the end part, people can find me at Admira Livre in YouTube. I also can be found on Instagram. Those are the main platforms, and plus Facebook. But you'll find the bulk of this work, these interviews, all we talked about here, on YouTube. I'm working with Multipolar TV and Convenção Multipolar de Canais, which is an agglomerate of channels, and to speak in the Portuguese language, so broadcast in Portuguese language. But I wanted to say something else apart from promotions and advertising the places where I publish my work, is that this kind of work that I do and Masha does, we do it freely. We do it from our own pocket. We understand, we have this certain reading of the world. Masha has said some of her motives, have stated some of her motives prior, and my motives are like similar too. When you see tremendous injustice going on in the world, and you just can't be sitting and in anger or in despair, you have to get up. Do not procrastinate. Get up and do something about it. Of course, doing a trip like this, I'm not telling anyone to just get up the couch and go to Russia and go to Donbass. I think you need to get together a certain set of conditions to do that, and also a little bit of some skills, not many, but some, to do some things that you need to do there. I mean, journalistic speaking. But this work, it's more and more important when you see sanctions package approved like the last one, which tells us that in the near future they will start going after non-Russian citizens in Europe that are going to be accused of spreading Russia misinformation, the usual story, the usual things. And this can become very, very serious. Our work is important, not just our work, but the people that do work as us as well, in the same way. It's more and more important to create awareness of the way that we are taking as a self-proclaimed beacon of democracy in Europe. This is very serious what I'm talking about. I mean, if you go through the latest sanction packages, nothing good will come from there. And the aim now, it's non-Russian citizens that can be easily accused of what I do, for example, and what me and Masha do, especially me because I'm European. Masha is in Russia, she's in principle she's safe. But this can be a serious blow to democracy. And so, once again, I ask anyone that watches this interview or watches these channels or associated channels, spread the word as much as you can in the name of freedom and democracy, real freedom and real democracy, not the one that is preached by Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen, Kaya Kallas, Baerbock, and alike. Real democracy, because dark times are coming ahead. That's all I had to say.
Democracy is on the bail.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And if you excuse me now, I will leave. And thank you very much, Marcel, for letting me in here today. I mean, for sure you are fed up with me already. So
I can't support you anymore. I just
you can't stand me
go
anymore.
away,
Yeah,
please. Yeah, please go away.
Yes, I will go away now.
You're the guest of my guest. She asked. Her fault.
Yes, it's okay.
Everything is my fault.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Okay.
Russians did it.
Russians did it. See, Russians did it.
Okay,
João, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, man. See you.
Bye-bye, Masha.
Bye.
You heard what he said? Masha in Russia is safe. Masha in Russia, in the country that is in the condition. Okay, we call it special military operation, but we all know that it's war. So Masha going to a war zone is safer than a person in safe, nice, hunky-dory Portugal. Isn't that ironic?
It's very ironic. Lots of things are very ironic in the last 3-5 years, I would say. Lots of things are getting very ironic. It's I'm not comparing the type of work that I do, because far from what you guys do, going to the front lines and everything. But this channel started by the same reason, just fed up. I'm Brazilian, living in Europe. That all the people that created the situation for the war, and I like that you call it war. We can go bureaucratic, whatever. It's a war. All the people that created the conditions for this war, for this conflict, for this operation, call it what you will, destroyed my country, constantly destroy my country in a different way. We will get there in a different way. And that's the reason for thousands and thousands of people like myself to leave the country. We love our country. You ask any Brazilian anywhere in the world, they will complain about the food. Well, our food is better. They will complain about the weather. Our weather is better. So why are all these people away from home? Because became unbearable to stay home. Becomes unbearable to stay home. And now that we had João was also a last minute call, but I would like to go back to the principle of of our conversation, because I think your experience is the most important thing for us. Your initial experience, the key that turned. So you started this work as humanitarian helper, translator on a war zone, interviewing people. The moment that your key changed, and what made you start this. So Masha, I would like you to, very honestly for sure, but very detailedly describe the Masha before you went and saw and the Masha after you went and saw, and what made you change this perception of the world? Because as I told you, I follow your work for some time already, and I know the story, but I would like our people to know the story, because this is the war that Brazil is fighting now.
Well, before I started, let me ask you. You say it is
Sure.
unbearable to be in Brazil, and of all places, you went to Europe. I know you're in Italy, you went to Europe. Why didn't you go elsewhere? Why did you choose Europe? Is it because
Exactly.
Europe seems like the first world where the life is better, which is supposed to be the example?
Exactly.
Which is it, when I say it, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think that I've been to Brazil once. I think that Russia and Brazil have really a lot in common. Really a lot in common. I felt a lot of connection with the people there from being
I
there.
testify on that.
So in Russia, especially in the 90s, in the late Soviet Union and the 90s, when Soviet Union collapsed and we went through the probably, well, most horrendous time in history, when we turned into a lawless zone to a degree, and we had to overcome that as a country. Europe and the United States and Australia, so the first world, right? Those countries seemed like the role model, seemed like something where you should strive to be. You are successful in life if you manage to get out of Russia into Europe, into America, into Australia, into the first world countries, right? I grew up with that idea. My dream was to go abroad. I went from small town where I was born to Moscow, never meaning to stay in Moscow, living here, but thinking of Moscow as some sort of some temporal place from where I will surely go to Europe as my final destination. And it is huge in not every, but in many, big percentage of Russian brains. It's part of what we grew up with, you know? So for me, believing in the narratives of Russian news before I went to Donbass was basically impossible. I took the other side's perspective and considered it more truthful. And you see, it so happened it shouldn't have been this way, to be honest, but it so happened in my life that 2014, when the coup happened, when Odessa happened, when Lugansk was bombed, all the shit started in Ukraine, which is now Russia, which is now our territories. But back in the day, it was Ukraine, and then it was separate DPR, LPR, you know. It so happened that in 2014, my life was very different. They could bomb my own building. I wouldn't notice. I didn't notice the Olympics. I didn't notice the Crimea. I didn't notice any of that because I had something in my life that was major and more important than all of it. And when it somehow calmed down with the Minsk Accords and stuff, right? If it didn't get into your perspective, into your space in 2014, then why would it get into your space in 15, 16, 17? It wouldn't. So 2022 became a huge shock for me. And absolutely, like, what war? Why on earth are we at war? What happened? Just yesterday everything was fine. And today we are at war? With who? With Ukraine? Seriously? We have a joke like Yuri Gagarin, the spaceman, the first cosmonaut, right? He calls, hey, you, my descendants, how's life? And we say, oh, we're at war with Ukraine. We are fighting with Ukraine. And he's like, oh, and who are you fighting against?
I got that. I'll have to explain later.
Yeah, so it's like that. It was an absolute shock. an absolute horror. It was absolute, like, I couldn't accept it in any shape or form. And I left Moscow almost immediately in the beginning of March and stayed in the Far East in some sort of a sanctuary until almost end of June. I had to be back for the beginning of July. It's a must. It's very important days for me. I have to go to my hometown, so I had to be back. Went to my hometown, returned to Moscow, and I just laid down. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to know. I went back from this North Arc into a country that is fighting the poor, white and fluffy little neighbor that did nothing wrong. What the hell? I don't want to be the part of it. Kill me somehow. I'm dying of shame. That was me before I went. So come beginning of August, so basically a month I spent like this, and that's when the opportunity presented itself, because my friend John Mark Dugan invited me to go with him. The thing is, he went there from the very beginning. He went to I left Moscow in the beginning of March. He went to Donbass in the beginning of March 2022, and he kept going, but he went there with various press tours. And imagine you have 10, 15 journalists and one translator. No matter how good this translator is, if you have to deal with 15 people, you do your best, but you cannot answer every one of them. You cannot answer every question. You cannot translate every question because everybody's talking at the same time. And John, of course, realized that he needs someone who would be his dedicated translator, who would only work with him if he wants to deliver quality material. And I'm his friend, and he knows that I'm a translator, obviously, and he suggested that I go with him. To me, to be honest, it was like, I'm gonna go. I wanna die anyway, so I will just see what we are doing. I will see for myself how horrible we are, and then I can go and walk out of the window, at least with a clear conscience. I checked, I confirmed, there is no need for me to leave further. That was the state of mind. And we go there. And the first place that we went to where I really saw something was Severodonetsk. It coincided like this. Severodonetsk was in a condition of Mariupol, basically.
Exactly. I remember the timing. It was exactly the time where Russia took Severodonetsk.
Yes.
And it was totally destroyed.
Yes.
I saw it in the videos. I haven't been there.
Severodonetsk is a relatively young town. There is a place called Lysychansk. Initially, Severodonetsk was built as a part of Lysychansk, but it somehow plans changed that it received the status of the town, independent town, and not as area of Lysychansk. They are on two shores of the same river, Seversky Donetsk. Lysychansk is a bit higher. This is from where Severodonetsk was shelled constantly. Very convenient. And it was utmost destruction. And we went there to film the work of MCS. MCS is our emergency services. It's everything. If there is some sort of natural disaster or some catastrophe, MCS, emergency services, come and fix that. So they were fixing that. They were demining the place. They were bringing electricity to the place. They were restoring it to the best of their ability. And we were filming their work. And together with them, we just followed. It's a small town, very small town. So we were in one yard, and in this yard, there was, several buildings that have their common territory, common yard. There is a children's playground there. And right on this playground, there were 3 small graves, very nicely decorated with white stones, with artificial plastic flowers on children's playground. I saw that, and I remember how, like in the Matrix, everything around me stopped. I stepped out of reality, kind of. I was standing there, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. I was like, presented with the
Reality.
real result of this war, not on TV, not on the internet or something, but real. So I don't know how many moments later, it could be a year, it could be a second, whatever, I got back, and I came closer to the people, and there was one man who wanted to talk to me for some reason, whatever. And I said, we did that to you? Why am I still alive? Why are you talking to me? And why are you not trying to kill me? We did that to you. And he said, he looked at me like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? That's from Lysychansk. We know who shelled us. And that was the beginning of that avalanche of information, because I guess these graves, they opened like a gate inside of me to actually not to reject this information, but to allow it in. Because then it didn't come to me through official sources, through Russian television or from Russia Today or from whatever, you know, that I automatically rejected. It came to me through my own eyes, ears, through what I could touch, through my real senses. And I did not filter it away as something inconvenient, like I used to do before, you know? Because, for example, I have friends from Ukraine who I considered friends. And when I look back, I remember what they said to me and how I dismissed it. No, I must have misheard. No, they couldn't be saying that. No, they didn't mean that. Oh, it was a joke. But then I remember I play it back and it all falls into place, you know? So in that time, I understood that I cannot dismiss it because no, it doesn't seem to me it's real. And well, I was in a very good position to understand it all, because with John, the journalist, everybody wanted to talk to him, right? So I was exposed to people who were from all different layers. For example, we talked to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of LPR, well, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of LPR. Now he is the main guy in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of this republic again, but only as a part of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Anyway, Vladislav Deinega, and he answered my questions. John was like, what would you ask him in the interview? And I said, well, it's your interview. I just translate. And he's like, I'm giving you a chance. What would you ask him? It's your chance to ask. And the questions that were asked to him were mine. He talked to us during 3 hours, answering my questions. And they were very basic. They started from like, why does Ukraine hate you so much that it destroys you, that it kills you in all these ways? What did you do to deserve that kind of treatment? And he started his answer. And that's when I learned about 2014. Imagine that. That's when I learned about Odessa. That's when I learned about Lugansk. It was all in August 2020. To me, it was such a red pill. It's crazy. So I was like, well, asking myself, where was I? On which planet that I missed it, right? On one hand. On the other hand, I started to build the picture from these bricks, to build it better and better and better, to understand what exactly was happening. So that was my kind of journey. Then we talked to the advisor, to Denis Pushilin, which is the head of DPR. And we talked to just normal people in the streets. John has this talent. He has no stoppers. He talks to anyone. He's not shy at all, you know? So he would just stop anyone in Mariupol and ask questions. That's fantastic. And, well, what do? I translate. And he's charming. People want to talk to him, you know? He's interesting. He's American. And he shows genuine interest to what they're going to say. So people were answering. They were talking to us. They knew that they could, you know, tell whatever they have to say, and it wouldn't be twisted in any way. Plus, of course, they talk to us off cameras when they, as well, which is safe, you know, for them. And in the end, we went, the last part in Donbass during that trip was that we went to Svetogorsk, which is at the moment under Ukrainian control. And that's when I understood the whole reality, because it was the first time when they said, do not film us, because we have people on the other side. They will be punished for us talking to you. And then I started to realize that it's not just the destruction of people in Donbass, that it is also destruction of people in the territory of Ukraine. For what? For having relatives? There was a billboard on the road. It's not there anymore, but for a very long time it was hanging there on the road from Lugansk to Novaydar direction, where it says, don't be afraid, speak Russian. Why do you need to say that? Russian is the native language. Why should you be afraid to speak your native language? Why should you be told, don't be afraid, speak your native language seriously? I speak English now to you. Should I be afraid to speak English, for example? Should I be afraid to speak Portuguese? Or, you know, I can go out and speak Ukrainian here. Do you think I will be beaten up? No. I can sing Ukrainian songs here if I want. Do you think I'll be beaten up? No. And Ukrainians will be, even though Russian is their native language. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
like I said, you have the right to think, to feel, to do, to think what's right and wrong, whatever you think. You have the right to have this freedom of thoughts in your head. And Ukraine is claiming this right to itself. It doesn't let you think or feel or express yourself the way you want to, the way that is natural to you. Somehow Ukraine now, the current government that is, right, that entity, somehow they think they have the right to do this. Isn't that insane?
It's totally insane. And perhaps today Ukraine is too obvious, I'm going to call like this, to understand that. But it's what you say just on the beginning, you know, I'm like that. I let people talk and then I make my, you know, head points. Then I forgot about my head points and I come back when I remember them.
Sure.
When you started stating that moment in time you were somewhere else, your mind was somewhere else, you had big things happening to your life, that's basically everybody. That's one thing that people, you know, conscious people, and I remember watching the interview when you came back from the front lines, the first one, and I'm not a professional on that, but I'm used to people's expressions, and the expression that I saw, of course, very different than what your expression is now, because now you had already time to, you know, digest most of that. At that moment, it didn't look like you had time to digest. The image that I see on that interview with Dugan was someone that had been completely torn apart. The word has been destroyed. I could see it in your eyes. I will, when I cut the video, I'll put some images, if you allow me, from this interview. It's a very old interview, and people can see that your eyes are of someone that had seen the world completely destroyed. And to be very honest, to some degree, every one of us, because in 2014, I was doing something different on my life. Why should I care about Crimea? It's not here. I have work to do. I have my family. I have my house. I have bills to pay. And that's everybody. That's not you, me, it's everybody. And one thing that I see on the people that are more conscious about things is that many times, this is a human nature. Many times they do not have the capability to understand this part, that people do not understand this as easily. As you said, you were talking to people, or people were talking to you, and you were just dismissing them. Shut up. That's not true. I just watched CNN. What you're saying is not true.
Yeah. The inconvenient part gets dismissed immediately. Yes.
Get away from me.
Yeah.
Stay away
Don't
from
break
me.
my convenient picture of the world. I have it all nicely. Go.
Yes. Perfect definition. Do not enter my comfort zone. Get away from a comfort zone. This is human nature. And I think the worst, and that's why I thought talking to you was not just important for the perspective of, the war and everything, but for the perspective of people understanding themselves. Because I think your testimony is you telling the people how you understood yourself, more than understanding the word. Because once you understand yourself, you look at the word and the word starts to make sense. Things are different than what you picture or your comfort zone. The comfort zone opens the door and you watch outside. Usually it's not that comfort anymore.
Have you seen the movie called Interstate 60?
Not really. No? I don't.
Okay,
perhaps,
there is one
but
episode
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, there is one episode there. I mean, it's an American movie. It's cheesy, but I think it's brilliant. There is one episode there where the person who works in the hospital, well, sort of works in the hospital, checks the cognitive abilities of the main character. I will show you the card. You tell me which is what. Okay, are you there? What this card is. And
okay, are you okay? I think you're back.
Cards were like black hearts.
Do you hear me?
And yes, I hear you.
Perfect.
Was I there? Or
yeah,
not?
You dropped for a second. The signal of your internet.
So anyway,
went down
the cards were,
okay.
oh, was I? Did I? Okay, so among these cards, there were black hearts and red spades. But the person he was testing was so conditioned that he would see the red thing and he would say that's hearts, even though it was a red spade. And vice versa. When he saw the black heart, he would say that it's spade, because spades are black. You are conditioned to see something and you don't see anything that doesn't match what you are conditioned to see. That's the comfort zone. You don't allow any information that is contradictory to that. You don't allow it in. So when I went there, you see, it was like if the lies about this war, right, about everything were so big, but it's only one episode. It's the war. What other lies are out there? If they don't stop themselves, if they're so unashamed to lie in such a degree, then they probably lie about everything else just the same. So you start to rediscover the reality in all senses, and you start to notice things that you never noticed before, and that applies to everything. So you start to believe your eyes, to pay attention to what you see, and also you start to filter the news. Like you don't trust anything. You only trust what you see yourself, what you hear yourself, or at least people who you personally know. Because that's a relatively reliable source, right? On that.
Exactly. The one thing, the bad luck for me, because I had a life. I was taking care of my life. Bad luck for me, I know too many people. It's just myself, I start conversations with people. I have very good Russian friends, and I have very good Ukrainian friends as well. Mm-hmm. And both of them, before 2022, they had the same story. You know, I had an Ukrainian neighbor here, and before 2022, she had told me about the prohibition on the language, the persecution of people, all that. Oops. Masha dropped. Okay. Do you hear me still? Nope.
Okay, did it drop?
No. You hear me? Uh-oh. Okay, you're back. Do you hear me now? Maria? Do you hear me? Okay, I can see the window, but I think she's not hearing me. Okay, let me try to fix this. Okay, let me try to fix this somehow. I lost you. Okay. Okay, do you hear me now? Mm-hmm. I understand.
It might happen. I now am on my mobile network because
Okay.
my Wi-Fi is dead.
Okay.
So I had to reconnect through my mobile network right now.
Okay.
I hope
okay,
it
okay.
holds.
Now we have met. If by chance this goes down, we rearrange another day. But so far, what you have explained is mostly important. And, you know, when you talk about this with people, they go back to the comfort zone. They say, no, this is the conspiracy theory. This is crazy. You're talking nonsense. Like that. I hear that
I have many
daily.
friends like that.
And the thing, it's exactly no. What? The West is mixing my brains? No, you're out of your mind. You're completely out of your mind. And why this is so important for Brazilian people? Because I don't think they have the guts to go in a war against Brazil. They don't have the power. And as they don't have the power to go to war against Russia, but there is not a Ukraine around Brazil, or a Georgia, or some separatist provinces at this moment of time, at least. But the cognitive war is very present in Brazil and rising, and people do not understand that. And I totally understand what you said. I fully understand. Myself is, I, as I said, of course, I'm not going to Donbass to, do something about the military war. But this channel is born because of this. When you understand what you said is absolutely, well, if this is a lie, what if this is also a lie? What if that is also a lie? What if that other thing is also a lie? And in the end, pretty much everything is kind of a lie.
Yeah.
And it's a fight against yourself to acknowledge that. So I was So they played me stupid for my entire life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
How?
They played me stupid for my entire life. That's true. And I went out to the world, into the public space, and admitted it. And that's what you saw in this first interview. I went out and I said, I was wrong. I was lied to. And I was stupid enough to believe those lies. And now my mission is to fight that. Because I want the truth to be delivered to people. And that is why, for example, what João is doing is so important. He cares so much that he goes there. I keep thinking about it. I mean, imagine, I don't know, someone in Lisbon and someone in Porto decided to fight with each other. Would they go there? Probably not. Probably
I get.
I would look at the map. Porto.
I guess the internet is
I
going
don't know
down.
if it's visible because you are not on
I
my
have
screen.
read.
I'm sorry.
Hmm. Okay, I can still see you, but I cannot hear you anymore. And yeah, dropped from the... Okay, it's coming back, I guess. Yeah, came back. I can... do you hear me now? Okay, I can see that your signal is going up and down, is floating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're jamming something, that's for sure. That's for
Yeah.
sure. But it's constant. I apologize to everyone. We have a terrorist state nearby who is doing everything to, well, damage us as much as possible. And, well, we jam the signal to make it more complicated for them. Sometimes they succeed, like they succeeded a couple of days ago. But most of the times they don't. The number of drones that get shot down every day, and they show it in the news, is astronomical. Luckily, it works.
Luckily, yes.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I'm completely disappointed with FSB.
Why?
You told this is a war, and they have not arrested you. We are live for 1 hour. I thought it was forbidden to say it's a war in Moscow, and you would be arrested.
No, it's not forbidden. It's not forbidden. It's not forbidden to say anything in Moscow. We have freedom of speech here, and we can express our opinions. And that's what I say. It should not be... You should be able to think what you want, what you believe is true, and you should be able to say it. And even if I don't agree with you, who am I to dictate you what to say and what to think? You're your own person. So you can say whatever. And that's called freedom of speech. That's called freedom of will. It's your basic right. So no, I wouldn't be arrested for that. And by the way, FSB does fantastic job. They are the ones to prevent all these terror attacks. And well, the good thing is we don't know how much work they actually have, but I think they're really overloaded, and I think they do a fantastic job in prevention of all these attacks that are happening.
Yeah, well, my friend Lucas Leroy, he always says a sentence that is like, well, entering Russia, about Kursk at the time, but, you know, attacking inside Russia, it's very easy. Getting out of Russia is the hard part.
Well,
It's a huge country. It's bigger than Brazil and the United States together. It's a huge
it's the
country.
biggest country in the world. Yes.
So
Yes.
just as Brazil, and we are not that big, but you know, doing something in a huge country like that, it's easy. The hard part is to get out of it.
Well, if eventually FSB catches them all anyway. They are not almighty, but they are pretty powerful. And I really think that they are doing a fantastic job. That's from the heart.
No, I totally follow the news, and well, not just the news, but the dark web news, and I see they doing a lot of operations, serious operations. Just the other day, not too long ago, they broke into a call center, that were spreading propaganda, like calling people and saying, yeah, your son is dead, someone that is fighting on the front line, or tricking people into sending money to a good cause, but in the end is something to, well, all kinds of, what's it called? Fake operations.
It's very big in Ukraine. They call us and they try to convince people to send money or to give them access to their bank accounts so that they would take all the money from there. It's a business in Ukraine. It's probably the most, working business there. The only job there's left.
Well, perhaps that and OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah, that too, of course, yeah. Well,
I'm sorry about that. Not everybody feels comfortable talking about that. It came out.
Well, you shouldn't be. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not a fake thing. It's not a legend. It's not a myth. It's not a stereotype. It's a fact of life.
Just the other day, the Ministry of Economy or something like that in Ukraine thanked the people that has this type of activities for helping with taxes. So there's probably a lot of them.
If they prefer that kind of work, well, who's their doctor? Like we say.
Excellent. I have to learn Russian now just to learn all the sayings in Russian. They are amazing so far.
Yeah, we have plenty of that. Yeah,
Masha, risking, getting disconnected, because since we are fluctuating too much, I wouldn't go too far in our conversation today, perhaps in another opportunity, but taking the risk of perhaps getting cut down by some internet cuts. Life in Moscow.
Yes.
Moscow is a very different city from rest of Russia, I imagine. Moscow and St. Petersburg, they are more cosmopolitan cities. How does the average people, I'm not talking generally, of course, but how the average people is, I imagine back at the time, your own testimony is what we can understand as the average people thinking about the conflict and the situation. 3 years have gone by. How does people portray this now? Averagely, of course. I imagine you talk to people on the streets every now and then, and this subject probably comes out at some point.
Well,
What's your perception on this?
I wouldn't claim that my opinion back in 2022 was average or not average. Many people left Russia in 2022 because they shared my opinion. They shared my position. I have many friends who left because they couldn't stay here. They had to leave. They didn't want to stay in the country that was offending poor little white and fluffy Ukraine here, right? It's true. There were also many people who supported.
Yeah.
Many people who supported our guys. I meet them every day. The volunteer movement is huge. People of all layers of society help in all kinds of ways. From big businessmen who buy lots of Mavic drones and stuff that are really expensive, to grannies who spent their last small pensions on socks to buy for the guys. It's throughout the whole society. The help is incredible. And I see it every day because that's my circle of communication now. So it's hard for me to say what's average. It's like, what's the average temperature in the hospital? Somebody is in morgue, somebody has fever. The average temperature is always good, you know? Are there more people now who understand what's going on? Definitely.
I'm sorry, I love that one. Some are in the morgue, on the fridge. Some have the fever. The average is decent. And
Yeah.
I just love that one.
But it's true.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. So what can I tell you? Are there people who still think that Russia is in the wrong? Yes. Probably there's less of them now because some of them have left and some of them have turned their brains on after all the terroristic acts that happened, after Kursk region has happened. They probably start to think, because how can you not? Though some manage not to, but still. Are there more people now who understand what's happening and support? Definitely yes. But also there are people who got, well, somewhat tired from that because it doesn't end. Because it should end, but it doesn't end. It continues and continues and continues. I hope that more people understand now that it's, well, that it's gonna last. Because when Ukraine is over, something else will be initiated. Some other country will be initiated. That's my belief. The West won't let us be. They successfully destroyed us in 1917, so we survived in the form of Soviet Union after. They successfully destroyed us in 1991, but we survived in the form of Russia now. They are starting it now through Ukraine, through Ukrainian hands. Why should they stop if we refuse to break? They will continue to try breaking us into something else. But we resist. We understand it now better. We understand now who the real enemy is, and it's not Ukraine. And I truly feel sorry for Ukraine. You know, they say that's the enemy. That's, in a way, yes, that's the enemy. But that's the victim. The victim of own stupidity. The victim that has the same lies fed into their mind had just 3 years ago. So then I understand what drives them. Only they lose lives. I hope it. Because all the light up to them. It's a really pretty reason to lose your. You lose your life because you're like, you sacrifice for bullshit.
Uh-oh. Oh man. I lost her again. Okay, I can still see you on the screen.
Technical tech stuff.
Do you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, frustrating. Okay, you're back. It is. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's well, we do the best we can with what we got. So let's perhaps, to avoid. Let me just bring this back to the screen because I can see you, but not on OBS screen, so we can kind of go to final considerations and arrange. And I apologize for that as well. You know, I don't use a. I thought we should blame Russia always. Just a second that I am trying to bring this back. Ah, come on, guy. Come on, program, help me out here. Just a second. Go to this, and then I come to this. Why? Yeah, I can see. Okay, you're back to the screen. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
That's
fine.
you know, that's what you get when you're too cheap to pay for paid software.
Look, it's not a matter of paid software. It's just the signal is jammed.
Yeah.
So it falls off. And your software has to cope with it, and it's not easy.
And it's not paid software, so it does not cope very well. I can see.
Well, from experience, if you pay for something, if you pay money, it doesn't guarantee you service. It just guarantees that you pay money.
That's also true. That's also very true. You know, I can actually see the signal bars going red here on my computer. I can see that your signal is going down. Sometimes it can also be my fault, but it tells me that's your fault. It doesn't matter. The truth is that, the communication today is not the most fantastic. Just the other day I had no, don't worry. Just the other day I had a conversation I told you about with Andrea, and he was in a bar in Moscow. Signal was perfect, and at some point came down and then went back up. It's like this. I understand. I've been to Cyprus some time ago. And, Cyprus is also in a constant state of war, frozen war, but a constant state of war with Turkey. And I could not fly the drone. And it was so beautiful. I want to do some good takes, but I could not fly the drone because, 10 meters away from the remote control, there was already signal jamming. It was impossible. Masha, in any case, I will thank you very much. Please just give us some final consideration. What would you say to the Brazilians? As you say, we have so much in common. And I do testimony for that. I have many Russian friends. And, the first contact is always very hard because we have this, Brazilians are very, and yes. Russians are a little bit more, hey, wait a minute, do I know you? But after this first, when you break the ice, it's just fun. It's just like we're the same. Well, at some point we are all the same at some level, but
yeah, we're all made of the same meat. That's right.
Exactly, and Brazilian meat is the best, especially picanha.
Well, what can I say to Brazilian people? We are all here. We are all people. We are all, the same to a degree, right? So let's just be friends. Let's please not think that Russians are the orcs, like they like to portray us, that we are the world's evil and whatnot, because we are not. I mean, really, we are not. Do not believe the lies that are fed to you. Verify facts. Doubt everything. You don't have to believe me or anyone else for that matter. Check facts. Don't be lazy when it comes to that. And make your own conclusions. Don't take someone else's conclusions as if they're yours. Make your own. Study things. Be curious. Be doubtful. So that the conclusion that you make is your own and not someone else's planted into your mind. That's the main thing. And try to see the world, though I'm sure you can, as the beautiful place, because it is a beautiful place. And there is absolutely no need for any wars or any animosity towards each other. We only have that planet. We won't have any other planet to live on. There's no spare one. So, and that's only one life that we have. So let's not fuck it up with animosity, hatred, this desperation to hate someone. There's no need. Let's be joyful. Let's try to love each other. It's much easier than it might seem.
It is actually very easy if you try.
Yeah, it's easy if you
Masha.
try.
Exactly. And many people are going to criticize me by citing John Lennon, but who cares? My channel.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. It's a good song. Masha, thank you very much for this last minute. I learned this lesson today. I'm going to start to apply that. What did you say? I have a 17-second span time of planning. That's
Planning
it.
horizon, 17 seconds, yes.
Planning horizon, 17 seconds. Well, let's do a conversation in the channel. Yes, when? Now? What about it?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Please tell people, I have put the link to the Telegram channel in the description. Please tell people how can they find you, find your work, and if you have, I know that back in the time when you were together with Dugan, a lot of times there was some contributions for aid and all that, where people can help if they want to.
It's not easy because everything is, I'm removed from Boosty, removed from Buy Me a Coffee. They all block me. So it's not easy. There is one platform that I found which is called Sponsor, like from sponsor, only without the or there. And the links are all in my Telegram channel. The Telegram channel is my name, Masha Lelyanova. That's my name and my last name all together. It's a personal channel. So it's not only Donbass, it's also a lot of cats and stupid memes, because I try to celebrate life as much as I can,
Memes are
But
fun. I like them.
But you pick off. There is no need to cry all the time, And anyway, in the description of the channel, there are the links that could be used if anyone wants to donate something for the cause. I also have a pinned message in my channel with the complete Excel sheet with absolutely all expenses by the cent. None of everything that's donated to me, nothing of that is taken to me personally. I spend it all on the cause. That's my mission. It's not a way to make, it's a way to be. So I do it, I'm the channel that brings people doing this help to the place where this is needed. I'm just channel. And that's why
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, because I think we lost Masha on the screen, but what she said and I could hear was that you can also find her links on João's channels. The links are on the description. You know the drill. So I would prefer to have Masha here in the screen to say a last goodbye. And remember everybody to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, here back to the screen. Remember everybody to like, share, subscribe. Masha's Telegram channel is this at Masha Lelyanova, as it's written here. The link is on the description. You can find all her work, as she was explaining, a data sheet with all the expenses and all the donations that were made that she doesn't keep and are used to buy supplies to help the front lines and everything, and the people as well. As João mentioned, that refugees from the war zones inside Russia, they are also helped by all this help that people can donate. So you can find the links on Masha's Telegram channel and also on João Linktree's. Masha, thank you very much. I apologize
Obrigada.
deeply for... Obrigado a você. I apologize deeply for the inconveniences of the communication. We will have another talk another time, and I'm sure it's going to be fun again. I hope you had fun tonight.
I did. I hope you too. Sorry for continuous disconnection.
No worry, no
Doesn't
worry.
matter.
This things are out of our control. So I just learned more and more things, and I have to write down all those sayings that you have because they were fantastic.
You're welcome.
Remember, guys, to like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you want to donate, you know that every now and then there was the QR code, super chats, super likes, super whatevers. They are very welcome on the channel. And see you guys next time. Bye-bye.